It's time to feel the rage.
Easy listening with Bryce.
Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies in theaters, streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors beware, as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hey there, Jim.
Hey, Bryce. How are you doing today?
I've been better. My dog concussed me, so
you're concussed?
I might be searching for words a little on today's podcast, so don't make too much fun of me, but
I promise to make as much fun as you deserve.
Oh no. That is not what I wanted to hear. And I don't think Murray's here, but I believe he's
here in spirit, and he gave me scripts.
Are you going to do a merman impression, or?
Yes, I'm going to do a merman.
Yeah, that sounds just like him.
That's just like the merman.
So with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
Wow. Thanks to all who've been supporting us. If you love our independent podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and give us a 5-star rating on your listening platform, or support the Film Rage community by joining our membership at buymeacoffee.com/FilmRageYYC. If you cannot commit to a membership, you can still buy us a movie rental and dare us to see a terrible film if it played anywhere in the world in a cinema. Even if it was made by a director for his daughter to showcase their music. Or any movie, for that matter, that played in a cinema. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
Just dare us. That's all we're asking.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's not a lot to ask.
No, it's not. This is where his concussion comes in handy, because I left Bryce in charge of the music, so this is going to be very interesting.
It is.
Because we got some merman predicting to do, and Bryce can't find the music. So this is going to be awesome.
I found it.
This could be the best. This is going to be the best podcast ever.
I found the music.
Oh! What amazing merman predict? What amazing merman predict? Will he predict the rage, or will he predict the mondo? Will he tell you all what Jim and Bryce saw at the movies? Here he comes now. Wait, no, he's not swimming anywhere. He's in Saskatchewan.
There's no water in Saskatchewan.
No. Don't swim, Murray. Don't swim, Murray. Don't swim, Murray, to Saskatchewan. Don't swim, Murray, or you'll hurt yourself in wheat.
Yes.
What's that other thing they make in Saskatchewan? It's like something they sell all over the world. It's like some kind of thing for growing stuff in the ground.
Is it?
Loom, or no, that's not it. It's potash. That's it.
Potash.
Yeah, he might swim into some potash and injure himself. Maybe get a concussion or something.
It's a pretty dusty place.
Or bust his sciatic or something.
No, that's your sob story.
That's my sob story for the week. All right, so here's the merman's predictions. He gave us almost all of them except one. So I'm going to have to fill in for the Mur, because we didn't know until like 5 minutes ago that Bryce saw another movie.
Yeah,
so Bryce actually saw 6 movies on top of being concussed. So this is going to be interesting. So, Sing Sing, he said double mondo in capitals.
Wow.
Because it has the fabulous Colman Domingo in it.
That's a wise prediction.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would have predicted.
Yeah, that's it, right. See, Merman's getting it now.
Yes.
Before he used to think he got it, but now he's getting it.
Yes.
So he predicted Alien Romulus, that Bryce would rage because he hates alien movies, and he said that I would probably give it a meh. Then he said Skincare, which I did not see. He said Bryce is probably going to give it a rage. And he said, I probably didn't see it, but he thinks if I did, that I would probably give it a meh. Oh. What do you think? Do you think I probably would have given it a meh?
I mean, you'd either give it a meh or a rage, I think.
All right, there you go.
But if I think maybe you'd give it a meh.
All right. And my penguin friend.
yeah, my penguin
He said
friend, Jean
because
Reno.
Jean Reno is in it, that you would give it a meh for him alone. And for your cute penguins, because you don't eat
I love
animals.
penguins and I love Jean Reno.
So it could be even a Mondo. Who knows? But he said meh.
Okay.
And then the last one, which he didn't know you were watching, but I knew you were watching. So this is my impression of what Merman would have thought that you would have given it. I'm thinking that he's thinking that you would have given that a rage.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called? Close to You? You
Yeah.
didn't even tell me what it was.
Yeah. Close to you.
Close to You, the new Elliot Page.
That's right.
And he co-wrote it as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you see the director?
Did I see the
Did you
director?
see who directed it? Based on that is why I'm predicting that he might have thought that.
Who directed it?
Well, people can go look that up.
Well, now I want to look that up.
Yeah, you don't have time. You can barely think
I
of.
got time.
You can barely even remember your name today.
Okay, it was directed by... Oh, I could probably...
This is what if Bob Ross got a concussion. This is what Bob Ross would sound like.
Who's Dominic Savage?
That's my point. All right, now he's made a lot of TV stuff.
Has he?
Yes.
Oh.
I can't wait to hear what you're telling me about this.
Oh, what?
All right, about this movie.
Oh.
Later on, when you change the music.
Right.
Now here comes another 5 minutes.
Oh, no. I'm all over this.
Oh, there we go. Hot damn. Hot damn, girl. Those anal beads are working. Your brain might not be, but that's helping you think.
My brain's working. It's just on a delay right now. It's like the words are in my head, but it takes a while to get to my mouth. And then by the time it gets to my mouth, I've forgotten the words that were in my head.
And you're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it.
But I'm trying really hard.
I know. And
I've never experienced anything like this.
Anything brain damage? Yeah.
This sucks.
See, I have brain damage most of my life. So for me, it's kind of common.
It's just weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
There's the first time I got brain damage and concussed I was out for until the ambulance arrived with smelling salts. I thought it was fun to let my friend swing me around by my arm close to a goal post until my head hit the goal post, caved it in,
That sounds
and
fun.
then collapsed. Right? I mean, it's good times.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah. And we weren't even playing football. I was all up with that.
Foosball.
You bet. All right, so you're going to tell us about skincare, the Nathan Fillion project or something like that?
Was he? Oh yeah, he was in. He's in it for a cup of coffee, and all he was in it. He just was in it to ask
Something.
Something. Yeah.
About someone?
Sorry, we're doing skincare.
Yeah.
So skincare.
Yes.
It's a story about an aesthetician. That's
Nice.
pretty good, right?
Yeah,
I think I
that's
pronounced
perfect
it right.
pronunciation, yeah.
And her name is Hope Goldman, and she's played by Elizabeth Banks.
I like Elizabeth Banks.
So she's got her own line coming out of skincare products, and things are looking on the up for Elizabeth Banks.
Nice.
So that's basically what it's about. It's based in LA, so you get the usual LA cinematic crowd of ambitious folk trying to make it in Tinseltown. Then enter Angel Vergara, played by Gerardo Mendez,
Man, you're killing it today.
who opens a skincare shop in the same plaza as
What?
So she's not too happy about that.
No.
From there we get an internet smear campaign. We get some inappropriate TV hosts asking for blowjobs.
Sounds awesome.
We get life coaches whose lives are kind of a mess themselves. We get some horny mechanics looking for some Hope Goldman action.
Sounds pretty good to me.
And we get some landlords looking to collect their rent from Hope.
Fantastic stuff.
Sounds like a good movie.
Yeah,
right?
it does. Where does it go off the rails?
This is all handled with an airy attempted humor throughout. None of the humor lands, and I'm not sure what this was really. It's is this a comedy? Well, it wasn't funny. This a mystery? Well, it was very predictable. Like, if you don't have this one figured out in, I don't know, as soon as the character comes into the picture, that it's going to be this person.
And this is someone who could figure it out with brain damage,
and
right?
that's exactly. I watched this with brain damage, and I still nothing got by me. So it's either really obvious or I'm just a genius.
Well, there's that too. Maybe it knocked some sense into you.
Anyways, there was no mystery. It was too predictable. It was like a true crime story, sort of, I guess, because it's actually, apparently this happened on some level. It's one of those, inspired by a true story. 5% of it is
whatnot.
Right. Yeah. But one thing I know, and that is that the merman was right, and this is a rage.
There's one thing he can predict, and he knows when Bryce is not going to like a...
It was a mess of a movie. It meandered all over the place, and Elizabeth Banks was okay, I guess, but Nathan Fillion I'm sorry, that guy is dull as dirt with dishwater. I mean, it's just... I don't know what's going on.
How people have fallen in love with our great Canadian boy.
Yeah, I love our Canadian boys, but he is not. I'm kind of upset that he's holding our flag up, because he's not great. He is not a good actor.
Well, let me tell you what Merman thought, because this is going to fit right in, right, for what you're saying right now. His first thing he says is, how am I going to do this? More Nathan Fillion. This is my British Murray impression.
More?
Yeah, no. Is how I'd sum up this film. The primary reason I went to this movie was to see Edmonton native Fillion in his usual charming self. The second reason I went was I like Elizabeth Banks. I had forgotten that they were in Slither together years earlier.
Reasons.
Yeah, and apparently he liked Slither years earlier.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he was in this one. I'm guessing maybe Elizabeth Banks has a thing for Fillion.
I forgot
maybe.
about Slither.
Yeah, Slither's good.
Slither.
Not Slytherin. It's not like Harry Potter.
I know.
It's Slither.
I'm trying my best, man.
Yeah, you're working it. You're working it, girl. Unfortunately, his appearance, meaning Nathan Fillion, was far too brief. The story itself, which was ripped from the headlines, years ago, wasn't all that entertaining or exciting. Lewis Pullman is always great, this time playing a steroid freak, sociopath, pulling all the strings. He says he enjoyed the nostalgia, the fashion, and the music, and the cars.
There were cars?
It just wasn't very thrilling. It was a mediocre meh.
It was so mediocre, it was a rage.
Yeah.
And it really did have this weird, like, made for TV vibe to it.
That's because Nathan Fillion's in it. He's like,
I think TV. That's what does it.
It's because he's a TV guy.
He's totally a TV guy, and I don't know that he could ever be anything else. Well, he tries, and he's terrible in everything.
Slither was good.
Yeah, Slither was okay. That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And then anyway, he jumped back into TV. Right?
Yeah, that's what he does, because
that's where he
belongs. Well, he doesn't even belong there, because
apparently,
if he's got to be somewhere, please just stay on TV where I can change the channel.
Exactly. All right, so the other movie, well, this is one that I actually did see.
Okay.
Because I was not around for I just got back Monday night, so. And that is Sing Sing.
Right.
Coleman Domingo leads a group of criminals in a Sing Sing prison, and not just actors who are playing prisoners, but most of them are actual people who are or were criminals, where they have this acting group who puts on performances every 6 months. The film is a character film, but not just in the concept of the character, but also men of character, and how allowing criminals to become vulnerable and part of a family can actually rehabilitate them. Also known as rehabilitation through the arts, or RTA. and it's referenced quite a bit in the movie. Although the story moves fast with our second protagonist, I'm going to say, Clarence Macklin, playing himself, I didn't feel it took away from the genuineness of the story arcs and the characters. This film will have you feel the human experience as seen through the eyes of these actors / convicts. In watching, I can only imagine how Colman might have felt surrounded by these inmates and how it may have impacted him personally, because it came through in his performance and because it tugged at my heartstrings and emotions just watching it as it unfolded. And yes, Bryce, I did bawl my eyes out at the end. And also, yes, it is a bit predictable. And we have seen this kind of story before, but none of the actors... I don't think we've ever seen it in a case where any of the actors, that have lived this and had us feel what was intended from this film. And that film and what we were supposed to feel is this story was Mondo. And I have a bit of unpacking, but what did you think about Sing Sing?
Sing Sing was brilliant.
Isn't it?
It was so good.
And
Colman, Domingo, I mean, it goes without saying, he's gonna be great every time he's on screen, because that's just what he does.
He was once mesmerizing all the time.
I mean, hell, he was in The Color Purple, and I couldn't look away from every time he was on screen. Unfortunately,
the rest of the movie, you could look away from him. Yeah,
but he was great. But man, these guys that are that are part of this program, that are all all this whole cast, basically the whole cast was convicts.
Yeah.
And they were all really, really good.
Yeah.
There's only maybe one or two where it's like, I didn't know going in, but there's one or two I wonder if.
Yeah. It makes you ask yourself, right?
And then at the end, they
tell you
that, these were all, and I was like, but you wouldn't have known it save for maybe one or two of them. But oh my God, they were so good in it. I love Paul Ratchie every time I say he's like the director
dude,
screen or
teacher guy or whatever,
playwright and blah, blah,
blah.
blah.
So there was two seasoned actors.
Two seasoned actors in here, and you always need a couple to just kind of ground everything. But man, there were some powerful scenes in this movie. Like scenes that literally just get you choked up. And if you're Jim, you start bawling like a little baby.
Yeah, it was like I was rolling on the ground, kicking my feet and crying. And my wife slapped me. She says, "Stop it! You're making me embarrassed."
Yeah, it was such a brilliant movie. I mean, you summed it up pretty good. There's nothing much more that I can add. I really, really love this movie.
It's funny because when we got out of the movie, my wife turned to me and she was like, this was predictable, but she said, I'm kind of trying to paraphrase her words, but that she's seen this kind of movie before, but the characters made you feel everything so much more deeply.
They did. They not only made you feel it so deeply, but through using these guys, it really did make it feel more genuine too. And you felt what they felt. And it was just, you could see that every line of dialogue they were delivering was part of their experience in their lives. Yeah. And it really came through in this. It was like getting like the best part of a documentary where you find that character in that documentary that you really, really love because he's able to convey so much and you can feel it. Well, that was with almost every character in this movie.
Yeah, it's very rare that, like, when you see this, because the movie wasn't terrible, like it wasn't over 2 hours.
No.
But you knew everybody. You knew every character, even though they didn't, in contrast to another movie we're going to talk about later, this one had so much development of those characters, and even though they didn't show huge character arcs for everybody, you knew each one of them intimately.
Absolutely.
By the time we got to the end of this. And there's a scene in this between Colman and Clarence Macklin that it really struck a chord with me, and of course I started bawling my eyes out at the scene too. There where basically they have the discussion about the N-word, in the movie. And Colman looks at him and he says, "We don't say the N-word here. We say beloved." And it just made me start crying. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so powerful.
There's much of that in here.
It's even bringing me to tears right now, but there's a scene near the end when Colman Domingo's character has gone through this arc that is just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And the guy comes back to him later in the movie, and he says, "My beloved, we're here for you." I'm getting teary just thinking about.
Oh yeah,
and
what kind of arc did he go through to get to that point where he can sit there and actually help out? Yeah, Coleman's character.
Yeah, like
it was
you've helped so many people.
If you see him in the first scene, you're like, "There's no way that guy's doing that at the end of this movie." But it all felt so natural.
It did, and it in a timeline arc. Like I was saying, I think it was a bit rushed, but because the characters are so deep, like I think Macklin's arc is fast. Like it does take him to this complete, but because the way they plan it out and because the direction style and because you're so involved with these characters, you can't help but go, you know what, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. In other movies we've seen where the direction isn't as strong as this, you go, there's no, like I've even heard you say it, you'd be like, there's no way that guy would get from there to there in that time frame. But in this here, it felt natural.
Even though it isn't, but everything was just so spot on. And in the performances, I mean, it's just, you could sit there and critique every single performance in this movie and have nothing but good things to say, save for maybe one or two, but even they were fine.
Do you want to know an interesting fact? Is that the director of this is their first feature.
Really?
Yeah. So they've got 4 shorts. No, as a director, they did have one before this called Transpectos.
Yeah. So the one thing I did do is after I watched the movie, I actually watched it last night, and I did look into some stuff, and apparently they bought the rights to the article that was, I don't know, was it in the New Yorker? Or they bought the rights to it in like 2004. But they wanted to get this right, so they went back and they interviewed everybody else that was in the article themselves. They expanded the interviews, and they just once they had their script, it literally took them like 15 years to write this script. And you know what?
It paid off.
It paid off, and the fact that they got all these guys to do this, and the performances that they got out of them. I mean, the director's got to be commended, but I think Colman Domingo, the professional that he is, he's probably got a lot to do with
giving that he would have given with this cast.
So, and
this movie
every time I see Colman Domingo, I just love the guy more.
Yeah. Really do. For sure. It's sad that he got taken off the list by our woman of power, Viola Davis.
It's unfair. Viola Davis against anybody's just unfair.
It's unfair. Okay, so
she is a force.
We need to see his first movie then, Transpectos, because another one of our mesmerizing actors, Clifton Collins Jr. is in that. So
really?
The fact that he's only made 2 features and
he's got like 2 of our favorite actors
in it of all time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So he knows what he's doing.
All right.
So up next we have a movie I did not see. In fact, you're the only one to see this one. It was called My Penguin Friend.
My Penguin Friend.
With the once amazing Jean Reno, but he's made a lot of things in the last few years that have not been good. So please tell me about this penguin and my old pal Jean.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's based on a true story, ish,
loosely based.
It is a crazy story about a penguin that kind of loses its way. It's supposed to be migrating to where is it supposed to be going? It goes from Patagonia at the tip of Argentina.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. And then it's supposed to go, I guess it would go to the South Pole, right?
Yep. That's where they usually live.
Yeah. But then it ends up in Brazil.
Well, so it took a left turn at Albuquerque.
So because of that, like he just kind of got separated at one point from the rest of them, and he ended up in Brazil and
by himself
on
a what do they call it, an iceberg or something?
No, he was
swam.
No, he was
carried by an orca. What?
He was to Ilha Grande off the coast of Brazil.
So he just showed up there on an island.
Little island, yeah.
Probably from an iceberg they didn't.
And he shows up on Jean Reno's doorstep basically, and
goes knock knock knock. Let me
kind
in.
of knock knock. He's like, "What's going on, Jean Reno? I need a place to stay." Jean says, "Hey, why don't you stay with me?
I got some herring right here." Hey, Funku, I got some herring right here.
So, anyways, and basically this penguin that kind of gets, loses its way, ends up there, and then every year for like 8 years after that, instead of going where it's supposed to go, visits him when he's every single year.
Every year for 8 years?
For 8 years. They figure, and here's part of the true part of it, they figure that the only reason that it stopped doing that is because it probably finally mated.
Or it died.
No, well, I mean...
How long do penguins live? I mean...
I don't know, more than 8 years.
Do they?
Yeah. You Google that.
I'm going to start Googling something.
Anyways, Adriana Barraza is in this as Jean Reno's wife. He plays Zhao. And she is just brilliant as she always is. It's a cute little story. It kind of loses its way when they start focusing on the researchers that kind of tag the penguin. I wish we could have just spent more time with the interaction between Reno and the penguin and all that was going on in the town and how it was helping him deal with a tragedy from earlier in his life. And like, that's all good stuff, but it kind of loses its way every time it kind of focuses on. And then it was on its way to be in Mondo. Like, honestly, it was really on its way to be in Mondo because it was so well done. And I would say it was like 90% real penguins. I mean, every now and then you could see a hint that it's like, it doesn't look right. But still well done. But it kind of loses its way at the end. And it's got to have one of those ridiculous endings. And in this case, I couldn't forgive it. It's like the penguin is coming back again to visit, right? So it's time for it to go, head to Antarctica. And it says, screw that. I'm going to see my buddy. And the penguin ends up getting injured, but he's like fighting through it. And, he loses consciousness after falling off a cliff. And then he fights through it and he gets into the ocean and he tries to swim there. And of course,
the seal tries to get him.
No. And then he just doesn't make it. And then he's like face down in the ocean. It's like, oh no. And Jean Reno tells all the fishermen, we got to go find him. And it like got so silly all of a sudden. It's like, we didn't need to do this. And lo and behold, in the frickin' ocean, he finds the frickin' penguin.
Totally, totally makes sense.
It's like, how
did it have a tracker on it?
No, it didn't. It was tagged, but no tracker.
No tracker tag. Yep.
So I was like, why? Why did you have to? You had this nice little story. You could have made a really good ending. It didn't have to be this way.
It's stupid.
Anyways, of course, he finds the penguin and revives it. And everybody lives happily ever after.
If they threw Jesus in there, though, it could have been, the reason they found it was because of Jesus. It could have been a conversion film.
But yeah, I wish I could. I wish this wasn't the week I was reviewing this, to be honest, because I'm not doing it justice. It's like it's adorable. If you have kids, watch it with your kids. It's great.
Nice.
It's a nice little movie to watch with your kids. It is really, really worth watching. The ending, unfortunately, kind of wrecked it for me, but not so much that it's not a meh. And it's a high meh because I absolutely adored most of this movie.
You like penguins.
I love penguins. I love Jean Reno.
When he's good.
I love Adriana Barraza. She's awesome. You'd know her if you saw her.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And this was a really, really entertaining movie.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the ending wasn't great.
So emperor penguins, which are the big mothers, they live from 15 to 20 years, but little penguins live about 6 years. So if he wasn't an emperor penguin...
Well, he had to be an emperor penguin then, because he was like 8 years he was going to travel back and forth. And it said at the end that the experts think that he probably found a mate. So I'm going to go with he's an emperor penguin.
Did he look like an emperor penguin? Because they're fucking massive.
He was a big penguin.
All right, there you go. He was an emperor penguin. He probably had some babies and
I don't
did some
know.
egg stuff.
I'm no penguin expert.
Apparently not. You didn't have a clue how old they were.
He was old. Yeah.
Old enough to swim.
Old
there
enough.
You go.
Old enough to swim. But I liked it. It was
good. Well, I'm going to see it now because I do also like penguins and I also like Jean Reno. So
you know what?
I was just happy.
I was happy to see Jean Reno in this role too because I got to admit I've been a little disappointed with what he's been choosing lately. And you know what? If he was going to choose a family-friendly movie to be in, I'm glad it was this one because this really was well done.
It's either this one or his other one he's known for, the family-friendly one.
What's that?
Leon the Professional.
Yeah, that's really family.
Also a family-friendly.
So family-friendly.
One that I would consider family-friendly.
There's
a little girl in it.
There is.
They're buddies.
Yeah.
It's like a family.
Yeah, you always teach little girls how to kill people.
100%. All right, so the big release for this weekend was Alien Romulus.
Poopulus, yeah.
Yeah, which is what Bryce had kind of hinted to me that the title wasn't Romulus, it was Poopulus. So, as you all know, I'm not in the same camp as Bryce. I loved Alien and also Aliens.
Yep.
And I even liked Alien 3. Or I should say, I didn't hate Alien 3.
Okay, that I believe.
I also didn't mind Prometheus.
I actually loved Prometheus.
There you go.
Which is the only one that I honestly loved that movie.
Okay.
I don't even know why, but
is it
resonated
isn't Michael
with me.
Michael Fassbender in
Michael
that?
Fassbender
That's
is
probably why you loved
It's
it.
not why.
It's
I don't just
100% why.
love everything Michael Fassbender.
It's true. He has done some
He's
pretty
done
stinky
some
stuff.
stinkers
He
for
has.
sure, but
mostly I'd say he's a 75%.
Oh yeah, he chooses a lot of good roles.
I'm giving him 80.
Yeah.
He's 80. If he's in it, I'm pretty much gonna like it for the most part, except when he works with Taika Waititi apparently. So
that was cute.
No, that was a terrible movie.
It was okay. It had some yucks.
Wipe your insane mouth out with that speech. Okay, so this one of the Alien universe, I guess, for lack of a better word, this one had all kinds of ties to the original, with lines ripped from the past scripts and some score and sound as Alien, plus had all the tech styling of the original ship to give nerd boners to alien nerds who are in love with the whole arc of this franchise.
It's the only thing this was
now,
made for.
Me, on the other hand, I kind of got tired of the whole franchise altogether after you have Alien Battle Predator. Just put it to bed already, for God's sakes. That was the moment I felt it was like Aliens Go to Space equivalent, or when the hero jumps the shark, or they, as we like to coin the phrase, go to space. But instead of them going to space, because they're from space, they go to Earth, which is where they were when they met the Predator. So apparently that's when they should have ended it, when they sent the aliens to Earth. So the fact that they still keep trying this thing is beyond me. I like Fede Alvarez's directing mostly, and mostly at night. I really tried to just watch this and pretend it was a brand new movie and see if I had never seen this or any Alien movie before, and this was the first one. What would I think of it? And it does tell a story that could technically stand on its own. You didn't have to know anything about Alien to see this movie, so I feel that was true. But they threw in so many things for nostalgia junkies that I'm guessing get them to bond with this somehow. I did like the penis penetrating face huggers in this. That was something I really liked, because that face hugger was just pounding that guy's mouth with his penis looking face hugger thing.
I don't even remember that.
That was the best scene in the movie.
Why don't I remember that?
But I also like the giant vagina cocoon
Yeah,
the giant vagina cocoon for the so there was so much sexual reference in this. They had the face pounding tree hugger as they're pulling the thing off, and the thing is going in and out of his mouth.
Yeah,
Like, that thing's sucking off the alien face hugger, and then they'd make a cocoon vagina for the mature aliens to burst out of.
That was weird.
But as much as some of the science of this was kind of interesting and interesting addition to this series somewhat, by the time we are on our third Lord of the Rings type ending, and the science just keeps getting more idiotic to try and fit an ending, I think, that tried to copy Alien, I think. I was so done with this movie. I didn't care about anyone in this film like I did the original Alien cast. So I just kept cheering for the aliens to kill everyone as soon as possible so I could get this over with. This was almost a low meh, but the science crap as it progressed through this film just made me more angry and just stopped making me feel anything. I never felt anything for any of these characters to begin with because there's no character development in any of them. This stop making these fucking terrible alien movies. My rage about this isn't going to be aliens, but it is something related to aliens, which I'll talk about later. And I have some unpacking about. What did you think of Alien Poopulus?
I hated it.
I kind of thought that when you called it Alien Poopulus.
It was so bad. And the thing that bugged me is like, well, there were so many things that bugged me, but I don't understand how she's like an expert sharpshooter. Like, where did that come from? And she just knows how to handle all these weapons and everything.
After she was taught for the first time. Although they did tell you the science in that it self-aims and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. It was, I don't know. Everything was just so silly. There wasn't like one original thing in this whole movie.
No,
it was just rinse and repeat. We've seen it all in the other. They took like every Alien movie and then they smushed it into this movie, complete with like references for fanboys to get boners over.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I know.
And some of it didn't even fit. They were just throwing out Easter eggs so that some people can feel like they're smart. Like, I know about what that's
I know that reference. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And it was to the detriment of the film too, because there was so much of it that it's like
it could have been an original idea, sort of, but all the science in it is like,
all the science is garbage.
And okay, so can I do some of my unpacking on this? Because
go ahead. I'm just gonna skip it. It's a rage.
Yeah, it couldn't have been anything but a rage. It's so awful. But okay, so let's talk about the science in this. Like he wanted to make an homage to the original, so he uses all of the same sets and the same text from the same thing. Like I know I looked somewhere online and then I forgot because it didn't matter to me about the tech behind it, but. So they have the exact same tech. Now, you can't tell me if you can travel through space, you're going to have 1970s tech in your fucking movie. The whole reason why they had the tech in the movie Alien, because it was made in 1970. That was the highest level of tech that existed in 1970. Mm-hmm. So don't make a movie in today's age that wants to... for everybody watching that in 1970... who I was one. I didn't see it in cinemas because I was just a little too young. But I did sneak in early enough. But it was a case where, wow, this is so cool. This tech is so awesome because it was out at the same time as Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And so to remake a movie to give homage to something, to now you say, this tech is awful. We have better tech now, and we can't even fucking go to Mars, or we can't go to Saturn, or we can't go to wherever they're going out finding these aliens. It just made it seem stupid. And then all of the other science that they put in it made no sense. Like when the ships open up, that's not what happens in reality. Like it was just painful because again, they just keep pushing the story forward to have it end like Alien or Aliens 2 or whatever it was. It was just...
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, why did they even make it? Everything was the same. Like, we even got the stupid human-alien hybrid thing. We've seen it. Like, everything in this, we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, what am I looking at this again for?
This just is another... Throw it on the heap. 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 of movies that has made Hollywood the brunt of every other international film location. It's a joke to them, right? Like, at least with Bollywood, they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
Because every Bollywood movie that's an action movie, they have fun with it. And, you know, if it's a sequel...
They're making Hollywood movies, but just to the, you know...
over the top hilarious, because
exactly.
They're like, Hollywood doesn't get it.
It's like Hollywood times 10. Like, we're
turning Hollywood to 11.
Yeah, we're turning Hollywood up to 11. And it's just so ridiculous. And if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it, because doing it this way is just
poopy. It's poopulus.
It's so poopulus.
Let me tell you what the Mur thought of Alien Romulus.
Oh yeah, Murman saw this.
He did see it.
What did Murman think?
So he says, okay, I'm not a big fan of alien movies or sci-fi in general, apart from Star Wars or Star Trek. I really didn't enjoy the last two films and wasn't especially looking forward to this one. That being said, it was a vast improvement over the last one, which I would probably agree with him.
I guess.
Yep. The major problem he had was in the setup of the events on board the ship with the nasty creatures. This ragtag group of juvenile delinquents led by Baby Ripley, a.k.a. Eleven's clone, somehow steal a ship to get off the mining planet, even though they can't get travel visas to leave in the first place. Which, I mean, that's a thing. If there's a ship flying out of space and you don't have a travel permit, they're going to shoot you down.
Well, I was wondering about that. Mur's bringing up a huge point here. Like, why, if they didn't shoot you down, why aren't they, like, following you and find it? Like, I didn't understand that at all. It's like, okay,
don't look behind that curtain.
Yeah.
Don't look behind it. So then they dock with the Death Star sized space station, and somehow nobody on the surface could even see or detect their equipment. He's like, yeah, right. He says, I liked the new android dude. He was super nice until they messed with his programming. There was a few cool homages, as we've already talked about, to the original film, including the OG synthetic human who was back to cause more trouble. Considering the actor who played him died 4 years ago, this was a full circle moment of AI creating AI. There was also...
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Also, or just stealing the rights. I bet you they didn't pay his family for any of that, I bet.
And it looked terrible.
Also, a certain line, which was famous from Alien, unfortunately, beyond Baby Ripley, I really didn't really care about any of the characters. So he had the same thing. Yeah. It's like they don't build an arc. Like in the original Alien, you cared for them all because they had personalities.
Yeah, you knew
and you cared about them, and they weren't annoying as fuck. With most Alien movies, it was predictable. It wasn't a case of if everyone was going to die. It was when. This film is supposed to take place between the original Alien and Aliens. Okay, so thanks, Murph, for looking that up. So they needed to tie it all together. This was done effectively, if not that brilliantly. This was somewhat entertaining. He said meh.
Oh.
So he liked it a little better. He wasn't as hypercritical as an Alien fan and someone who doesn't like Alien movies.
That's the whole thing. You got the two extremes, and then you got Murr that was right in the middle. So
yeah,
and that's why I got a meh from him.
Yeah, I guess. For me,
he wasn't bothered as much as we.
But
were.
He does like nostalgia. Like he lives for nostalgia, whereas you and I, it's like that does nothing for us. You know, the only time nostalgia works, like we saw it with Deadpool and Wolverine, that worked because how they did it. They were poking fun at it. But otherwise, poopador. Yeah. All right, so you got to see Elliot Page's newest project.
Yeah, he co-wrote it and stars in it. Yeah.
Probably produced it. They have a production company.
Yeah, it sure was produced by Elliot. So
is their name all over it then?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, even the story arc is kind of their story, but I don't know if it's really from
there's no question this is a super personal movie for Elliot Page.
Yeah.
And you can see that. It's basically about a trans man who has been away from his home for many years, and is going to go back for his father's birthday. So that's basically the whole thing and how they're going to react to him.
Do they know who
they do? Trans? They know.
But they've never seen them.
But they've never, yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. All of the scenes with the family are like, a lot of them are like super duper uncomfortable, and that's the point. Mm-hmm. And there are so many messages in this movie, and they're all worth hearing. It does lose its way though when it's not about the family. They put in this little side story where he meets a girlfriend from Once Upon a Time, who's now married and has children. And I think the movie loses a bit of its effectiveness in that he tries to pursue that relationship, which, if you know they're married, like that was kind of weird.
Why did they need to have that?
And why did they even need to have that when they had all this good stuff with the family dynamic and the bigoted husband to be of its sister and all that? Which there was some such good poignant scenes with him, and the father in this was amazing. I can't even remember who played the father, but he was so good in this. And there are two scenes in particular that make this whole movie worthwhile. I will say that it feels a little disjointed because of the side story, and as a cohesive film, it's not. You wouldn't show this to a bunch of film students, say this is how you make a film. However, I would say most of the performances, not all of them, are really, really good. There's a couple of standout performances. Elliot Page is amazing in this.
Yeah, they usually are fantastic.
And at the end of the day, there's enough here to make it a high meh. It's absolutely, I want to give it a mondo, but the side story took away from it. I'm sorry, I'm losing my concussion's kicking in again. but all in all, it really has a lot of good stuff to say, and it's all worth hearing. And
so the content is
really good. It just loses its way a couple of times, and I wish it did. I wish it really did focus on the family, and that's a personal thing. Like I wish that it would, and maybe someone else is going to watch it and go, no, it needed to have that other. But it was kind of weird because like, why are we getting?
Yeah, because now you're going to make Page's character a villain,
a little bit.
So it's like
trying to break
it kind
up
of gives people an excuse to hate them for who they are or who they're not.
It's a weird choice to put that in there. I understand having the character there, but not the whole pursuing that character. I like the original interaction with them, and there's a kind of a weird scene where she realizes that she's kind of having this fear because she realizes she still has feelings for Sam, which is Elliot Page's character. So she kind of pushes him away after they have this interaction because they actually see each other on the train to Toronto, I think it is. So that and I almost feel like that's where it needed some explanation because you didn't really know why she was pushing him away at the time. So I think you needed to have another scene there with him, but you didn't need to have this whole super duper pursue this person. And I guess the way it wrapped up, I was okay with them doing it because of how they wrapped it up. But I didn't think it was needed. I think it took away from the grand message of this film.
Message, yeah.
But it's worth watching. I think a lot of people should watch this movie. I think it does have the ability for people to have more understanding. I think it has the ability to educate,
which is hopefully why other people will see this.
And it's definitely worth seeing. I just wish it was more cohesive, and I wish it didn't have the side story. But
it sounds like, from not seeing the movie, what I'm hearing it also say is, okay, just because someone is a trans person doesn't mean they can also not be an asshole.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And maybe that's the point.
Maybe
I'm
that's what
missing
Elliot
the point.
was wanting us to know is that, you know what?
like,
Yeah, it's okay that
I'm still human.
I'm still human. I can be an asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I mean, if I was writing the story about my, maybe something that was mimicking my life, I want to write myself as the hero.
And it's okay for that to be the message. Maybe not in this film, because I think this film was trying to give you some different message.
which is I think why I say it, because it's like, okay,
it's
what
kinda
message?
weird.
What is the message you're trying to put here? Because you're kind of sending two conflicting ones.
But I'll be honest, I when I saw the trailer, because I did watch the trailer for this, I was like, I don't know. I just don't know. But it has a very provocative first scene where you're like, and it's got a lot in the beginning where you're like, I'm not so sure about this. But once he gets to the family and they start doing their thing,
dynamics.
That's where this really takes off. And it is so uncomfortable to watch.
Nice.
And that's why I love those scenes, because I don't care who you are, you're going to be a little uncomfortable.
Okay, do you remember a few years ago when we watched Beanpole together?
Not that uncomfortable. There's nothing more uncomfortable than Beanpole.
Okay, good. I just wanted to know if it was more.
And Beanpole is next level filmmaking too. Beanpole is brilliant.
Just so I have a comparison of how uncomfortable I'm gonna feel when I see
there's no matching Beanpole.
All right, okay, perfect. Well, you know what? That was a pretty solid week. We're talking about one of the films that you watched this week next week, because it comes out into major release.
I watched so many movies this week.
Yeah.
I even watched...
And the fact that you kind of remembered them is pretty good with having so much brain damage and all.
Yeah. No, I did my best. As I say, I'm searching. I'm searching for the words a little bit, but I'm trying hard.
You're doing good.
All right.
Keep it up. Let's see what happens next.
All right. What are we, Murr?
That's your cue. Yeah.
All right. So
we got more Murr.
We got more Murr. He's not even here.
Yeah, we got more Murr than when he is here.
God damn it! He's still dominating the show. He's not even here.
That's right.
All right, Murr.
All right. We get the Murman Minute even when the Murr's not here. So, Murman went to see the movie UHF.
They got it
also
all.
With Bryce.
I showed up there too.
That's right.
Murr's like, you're here. I said, yeah, I told you I might be.
There were so many movies that Bryce watched with us last week, and I'm jealous.
Yes.
So this week he says I'm going retro. Not like he does every week, which he does. This time I'm paying tribute to the weird one himself, Weird Al Yankovic. Vic, not
Weird
Vic.
Al Yankovic.
There we go. On Friday, he says our favorite art. This is me speaking for Murray. I'm reading his words.
This is Murray's
words. On Friday, our favorite art house cinema, which is also speaking for Bryce and I, The Globe, had a screening of the 1989 classic film UHF, starring Weird Al Yankovic, Michael Richards, Fran Drescher, Victoria Jackson, and the small but mighty Billy Barty. For those of you who haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? I even convinced Bryce to check it out, and he almost never goes to films he's already seen.
It's true.
He even brought his better half. No, I'm not talking about Charlie Horse. UHF is the story of a lovable loser who can't hold a job because of his overactive imagination. Hey, this is a story about Murray.
Yes.
Until his rich uncle wins. Oh, that's not Murray.
No rich uncle.
Until his rich uncle wins a UHF station in a poker game. He and his friends turn the down and out TV station into a ratings bonanza, which pisses off the big network affiliate in town. The real star of the show is Michael Richards as dim-witted Stanley Spadowski, janitor turned host of a popular kids show. While the story isn't especially well written, it is quite predictable, and it's a lot of laughs as Al and his friends come up with the craziest ideas for unconventional TV shows. Uncle Nutsy's Clubhouse, Bowling for Burgers, practical jokes, and bloopers where they literally prank people on the street. Ral's Wild Kingdom from his apartment. Badgers. We don't need no stinking badgers. Gandhi 2. Conan the Librarian. Wheel of Fish.
Gandhi
Stupid.
2.
You're so stupid. And of course, Stanley Spadowski's Clubhouse, where he goes digging for a marble in the oatmeal and shoots kids with a fire hose. We need more shows like that. And don't forget, kids, all your spatula needs, go to Spatula City.
Spatula City's the best part of the movie.
What is Spatula City? I saw this movie when it came out.
They actually, it's one of the commercials they run on it. It's actually a place, Spatula City. If you need a spatula, you go to Spatula
But
City.
Dude, it's an actual place?
It's this giant store, and it's all spatulas. It's so good.
You know what? I'm always looking for the next great spatula in my collection. He says, that's right. Don't change the channel. Don't touch that dial. Is this a song that you would sing if you had a brain? Don't change the channel. Don't touch that dial. We got it all on UHF. Kick off your sneakers. Stick around for a while. We got it all on UHF. Don't worry about your laundry because forget about your job. Just crank up the volume and yank off that knob. We got it all. We got it all. We got it all on UHF. Oh, my God. The Murr. You're delivering from thousands of kilometers away, buddy.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Indeed. So what, I don't even know what's next. I don't have an agenda.
It's time to rage, my friend.
Oh. Okay. We can do that.
It's coming, people. Don't you worry. Our poor brain damaged boy
I'm doing my best.
is doing his best.
Rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Nice. I'm dealing with my dog at the same time. He's trying
Dealing
to
with
eat
brain
something.
damage and his dog at the same time, and Noah's dog is in brain damage. Okay, so here's my rage this week.
Sorry about that.
There we
Jim.
go. So my rage this week is not that they made Alien. I mean, that's enough to make people rage to begin with. What I'm raging about is sometimes when you're in the cinema, if you go to the cinema as much as we do, which is every single week, they now have this thing, and I don't know if it's trying to make us connect with the directors or the actors because they talk about the movie. So they bring on the director of Alien, Poopulus,
Yes.
and he's talking about how, we've kind of strayed away from the original storyline of Alien, so I just wanted to bring it back. This is the reason I'm raging. It's his fault.
Yes.
Not only did he decide to make an Alien movie, which did not need to be made,
Oh, it
because
sure
they've
didn't.
already gone from space. Not go to space, gone from space.
Yes.
So once you've gone from space, there's no more that needs to be done.
Why are we back in space?
Why are we going back into space to retell the story back to when Alien first happened? This movie needs to stop. And him talking about it didn't make it any better for me to, after watching it, I'm like, now you're just, because I saw another movie after watching it and they played this in the movie I was watching.
Yep.
And I'm like, now you're making me angry because I hated your movie so much. And now you're talking about you made it because you did want to go back and make a nostalgia-ridden piece of garbage.
Yeah.
That's my rage this week.
It's good rage.
Stop interviewing directors about terrible movies. Ask me first, and I'll tell you who you should put on. And this isn't one of them.
There you go.
Poopulus.
So poopulous. All right, my rage this week is Alien Romulus.
Rage subsiding. Pulse slowing. Anger fading.
All right. Well, Bryce has survived an episode with brain damage. We survived without the murder.
This isn't what we're doing?
No.
What about this?
Sure, we'll have some of that.
How about both at the same time?
Yeah, sure. Just bring them down in the mix a little bit.
No, you gotta turn it up. If it's too loud, you're too old, Jim.
Oh, wait. Is that a song by Pursuit of Happiness?
It isn't, but it should be.
It should be. So we don't have a Rage or Dare this week because I wasn't able to watch the movie. But next week,
Yeah.
Casey's back.
All right.
The Mur's back.
Yeah.
I'm back. Your brain might be back.
I hope I'm feeling better.
Yeah, I hope your
'cause
brain is back. You never know. But if Mur's back, at least he can control the machinery.
I did okay for someone that's
Yeah.
not quite with it.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this hole. I think my dog just ate a lot of fabric.
Nice. It is a big hole. It's almost as big as the hole as that vagina that alien jumped out of, an
was
alien Poopulus.
Very close. Very close.
So next week we will have been watching Circle of Fear, or Alibi Perfetto. The Circle of Fear, Alibi Perfetto. Until next week. That's it. You got it, baby. Thanks, Rangers, for listening. Thanks, Extended Film Rage family, who you can find in our show notes. Thanks to Casey, the god of rage, and also the nerdy photographer for the voice of Rage O'Dea. Welcome back next week, Casey. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com, including our merch site for Redbubble and TeePublic. We always want to make this a raging blast for all listeners, so please comment, like, subscribe, and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage. But no matter what you do, please, 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 pretty please, 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 oh my God, all rage. That's it for this week. Rage on.
I pressed the buttons good, right?
You did good button pushing.
Rage on.
Mondo!